popular picture. Like in Tamil, Bhrartruhari is called Patragiriyar and Pattinatthar with a dog. I am going to talk about Savach, which is referred in some of the things of Pattinatthar. The starting point of the work is in Daivatin Kural. Paramacharya used to talk of two people. One is Bhrartruhari, the king of Ujjain, king, and Pattinatthar, who is a rich trader from Kaveri Pumbattinam. He talks about they have given up their position, high position, like a king and the very rich trader, and try to look at detachment. Like I hail from Trichy. This is a Nandudiyan Koil, Nandudiyan temple in Devadanam. There is a sanctum for Pattinatthar. Now let us come to Savach. Pattinatthar want to become sanyasi, so he decided to go to Thiruvalangadu, maybe get inspiration from Savach. So Pattinatthar told his mother and family, "Veedu ondru undu Thiruvalangadu, angu avan kodutha odundu." He left the family. Like he says, "I have got a house in Thiruvalangadu, Veedu ondru undu." There the Siva has given the begging bowl, Nataraja Shiva. There lived near Thiruvalangadu a warrior from their family is also responsible for palanquin bearer family. He was employed by the local king for royal services and chief of bodyguard. The story starts with this. He was a chief of bodyguard. He was accompanying the prince on a mission. And one day the bearers were lifting the prince. And because of some obstacles, the bearers were hurt. But bearers still walked with difficulty and pain. So no one bothers about the injury of the bearers. The prince was short-tempered and he felt he was not in a good mood because of the small discomfort he experienced. When went back, wounded was very punished for making journey uncomfortable for the prince. No one bothers about the wounded. Afterwards, what happened was, during the hunting trip, chief of the bodyguard could only save the king, but the prince died. So they carried his body for the cremation and the chief of the bodyguard was put in charge of it. So this is a sample of the cremation with a small temple. This is Kashi and there are many like that. Normally there used to be a small temple in many of the crematoriums near that. So chief of the bodyguard felt that today he need not worry about being punished because he is carrying the dead body, it will not complain. Then he became enlightened instantly and became a Savach. After the king wanted to honor him and promote him. After the cremation, he just went to the Shiva temple at the outskirts. So he just was for a minimum living, he was bit helping to carry corpses or do some work. So king sent the royal official to look for him. And people were wondering why he left the high-paying job carrying the corpses. So the official went and talked with, now he has become a Savach, talked with Savach. Why are you doing this? He says, "Arindadu sumappadu, vaalkayum sumappadu, degam mamsam, virumbuவது mamsam, ஆட்டுவது சிவம், நின்றதும் சவம், வெறுப்பதேன் சவம்." You say this looking corpses and cremation is a low job. I carry luggage. This is also carrying burden. Life is about carrying burden. Body is nothing but meat. We all love meat. Shiva makes it to dance or move. Once this Shiva stops, body is a corpse. So why do they dislike the dead body? Then with some discussion he gives the fundamental. Like these are all the very short things, contains lot of information for us. தோற்றம் மாயம் சித்தம் கலக்கம் உள்ளது சிவம் அதை அறிந்ததும் சிவம் வேண்டுவது சாந்தம் நாடுவது சிற்றம்பலம். What is seen is illusion. Mind is always confused or agitated. What is present is Shivam. One becomes Shivam when one understands Shivam. Real you is Shivam. What is needed is peace, nothing else. Enlightened wants nothing else. Let us look towards surrendering to God in Thiruvalangadu. Avan kulindal ananda tandavam, nam kulindal shivalokam. He says, you pour cold, nice water over Shivalinga because he wanted to do ananda tandava of it. But if we get cold, we go to Shivalokam, death. Then one of the very good sentence I used to like is this. What is this about? World, he says. Kuttan illada kuttidu. Everything is a cosmic dance, what we see. It is hidden or missing dancer. Unarvadu elidu, arivadu aridu, vilakka eladu. It is easy to feel our joy. We all the people can enjoy life, enjoy universe and all. We don't know why, what is behind it. It is difficult to understand, impossible to describe. After hearing this, official became a student, popularly called Savach. King came and got lessons from him. This is just similar to Jada Brother's story. Now we come to the Pattinatthar. Pattinatthar is a title because he is from Kaveri Pumbattinam. There seems to be 3 persons and lot of stories, many variations of stories. It is difficult to know which is the original story or something, but it doesn't matter. The substance matters. Stories give some input to us, insight to the earlier living. One is a sanyasi connected with Bhrartruhari, and there seems to be a chittar also, illusionist. And a reformer trying to discourage the Devadasi system and improving the youth morals. One of the basic version I will see. His name was Thiruvalangadu. He was born to a Chettiar, Sivanesa Chettiar. He had no child. He is very rich. So he adopted the child Marzavana. He used to trade, sea trade from Far East countries. So after the voyage, ships comes back. On one voyage, the ships come back with wealth without his son. His son is dead or missing. He got wisdom. What is the use of the wealth? The son for whom this wealth? There is a story like Marzavanan just gave the box and left or something, left forever. In that he says, Kadatra Ushiyum Varadu Khan Kadai Vavike. Even this eyeless noodle will not accompany you in your last journey. This shows death teaches that everything is impermanent. Death teaches the living. This song goes well with that story. Napilakka Puyuraith Navanidiyam Tedi Nalanundrum Ariada Nariyare Kudi Pupilakka Varindra Putrisal Pola Pula Pola Kala Kalavena Pusalvargalai Pervir Kapadar Kum Vaherivir Kaividau Mati Kavarvilanda Marattulayir Kal Nuraitu Kunde Apadanai Asaitu Vitta Kurangadanai Pola Agapattire Kidanduela Agapattire. It just tells about the life. You gather all the wealth, maybe uttering lies. You only worry about money, money, money. Then with some unknown woman, you stay, build a family, have a children and all go. You get stuck. you don't know what is all about. You don't know how to save them. You won't leave them. You don't know what to do. This act is like a monkey that inserts its leg in the gap of a tree branch. It is not able to come out. This is something like, this is applicable to sannyasi. It may not, it has some substance. You may not take it very extreme way, like life has no meaning. But it tries to feel that there is a limit. So, these are all the popular songs of Pattinatthar. He decides to go. So, the mother says, வீடு இருக்க தாய் இருக்க வேண்டுமனை யாழ் இருக்க பீடு இருக்க ஊன் இருக்க பிள்ளைகளும் தாம் இருக்க மாடி இருக்க கண்டிருக்க வைத்த பொருள் இருக்க கூடிருக்க நீ போன கோலம் என்ன கோலமே. That's what, from the mother's viewpoint, she says, you have got the house, you have got the family, you have got the riches. Why you take the form of a sannyasi? வீடு உனக்கு அந்நியம் ஆகிவிட்டது, ஆனால் ஓடு உனக்கு சொந்தம் ஆகிவிட்டதே அப்பா. She feels that now you feel house is foreign to you, but you feel the begging bowl is dear to you. There are also some miraculous stories, like they all want to take his wealth. So his sister was trying to poison him. He just throw the appam, what is called, on the house top. She says, Tanvinai tannai chudum, votappam vittai chudum. Like you will pay for your mistakes. The entire house engulfs in flames. So there are lot of things on miracles connected. Though he became a sannyasi, he promised his mother, when you are on a final journey, I will come. So he learns, or he gets by city, his mother is not well, he goes, final days. But the people don't accept him, the neighbors, they don't want to help him to do the cremation. So this is a miracle, like he sings a song and creates a fire without any external help. Like முன்னை ஈட்ட தீ முப்புறத்திலே பின்னை ஈட்ட தீ தென்னிலங்கியிலே அன்னை ஈட்ட தீ அடிவயிற்றிலே யானும் இட்ட தீ மூழ்க மூழ்கவே. He says there is one fire from Shiva's third eye which can burn. Then Hanuman put a fire for Sri Lanka. The fire that mother holds in the womb for us to grow. So this is about the traditional Pattinatthar. There are some stories as an illusionist, which is also part, he plays with the children and he does chittu and he covers. In the end is like this, he goes and asks children to play. Then he was trying to hide and come, they will cover him up, he will come somewhere else, like that. And finally, once the children closes the thing, he never comes back. Something like an illusionist. There is a similar story in Kanjipuram. Kanji is called Pattanam. It was a capital of Pallavas. So it was called Pattanam, Kanji Pattanam. There seems to be a saying. When he was young, he left his family when his marriage was being arranged and joined the monastery. He learns about scriptures, sciences and the art of illusion and magic. Once when he was visiting his native place, he found his family was unhappy, ruined. Then the person who you is supposed to marry is becoming mad. Then he realizes, like, the God is within you. Happiness comes from doing good in a small way. So some of his poems under Pattinatthar looks more to this story. So, Kalla Piyayum, Karuda Piyayum, Kasindurigi Nilla Piyayum, Ninaya Piyayum, Ninnan Javittai Solla Piyayum, Tudiyai Piyayum, Toya Piyayum, Yella Piyayum, Poruttarulvai Kachiye Kambane, Kachiye Kambane. Kachi Egambane is Egambareshwar of Kanchipuram. This saint expresses inability to do the properly the learning, contemplating, staying attached to the Lord and remembering. Now let us come to Pattinatthar and Bhrartruhari. Bhrartruhari is a popular story, like King Bharatgiri, Pattrugari tries to become a saint and he goes to approach Pattinatthar. This you can find in Deivathin Kural and there are many stories about it. One of the thing is he goes to Bhrartruhari goes to Pattinatthar and then says he will stay with him. But Pattinatthar says he wants to be independent. He was staying in one side of the temple of Tiruvadai. He says, he gives him a small lecture and asks him to go other side and stay independently. And there are story of the dog, he is attached to dog, he leaves the dog. So if you look at Bhrartruhari's story, he was the ruler of Ujjain. One day a monk presented him a special fruit. The king gave it to his Rani, Pingala Rani or Anangasena, because he loves her. Next day, the king got the fruit again back as a gift, or he finds it. He asked Pingala about the fruit he gave her and found the truth. Pingala in turn preferred the company of the chief housekeeper, so she gave the fruit to him. Housekeeper has given to the milk seller, so it landed with the lady. So the queen killed herself. Bhrartruhari became a sanyasi and the disciple of Pattinatthar. What it shows is the attachment should be on both sides. Like mutual or both-sided is bliss. One-sided will be a mess. It can be to a country, it can be to a person, it can be to an organization. There is also the thing of Bhrartruhari as a scholar. He was a grammarian. Then he wrote 100 stanzas each on 3 shadagas, like Thirukural in Tamil. Nidhi Shadaga, Shrinkara Shadaga, Vairagya Shadaga. And also there is one more version of Bhrartruhari in Pattinatthar. Bhrartruhari was a king. This is mostly in South India. Once a saint meets him and then tells him you have to be careful about women. So the king did not agree with the saint's view and he drove him out or something. Later the king found out about his queen's illicit affair. He meets the saint and obtains sannyasa and becomes his disciple. So some of the poem of Pattinatthar which discusses the problems arising out of the lust for women, maybe this story looks more applicable. Like, Narumudalai Naripodi Chotrinai Nan Dinamun Chorunkariyum Nirapya Pandatai Tohayardam Kurum Malamum Ratamun Chorum Kuril Virad Yerum Padiyarulva Yereva Kachi Egambane. This is to Egambareshwar. There is also one more version, like Pattinatthar was sentenced to death because the robber left the stolen jewels with him. So he was put and then the whole Karumaram, they will be hanged, that it got burnt. So there are a lot of stories, so many variations. But Pattinatthar philosophy on nature is very simple. என் செயல் ஆவது யாதொன்றும் இல்லை, இனி தெய்வமே உன் செயல் என்று உணரப் பெற்றேன். இந்த ஊனெடுத்து பின் செய்த தீவினை யாதொன்றும் இல்லை, பிறப்பதற்கு முன் செய்த தீவினையோ இங்கனம் வந்து மூண்டதுவே. Like karma and birth continue one after another. Is there no end to this cycle? Our action or karma should be such a way in which the Lord, Siva, should help us. And we have to remove our ego, impurities. Then we become pure, one with Siva. And this philosophy is very simple. உள்ளத்தில் இறைவன் இருக்க ஊர் ஊராய் தேடி அலைகிறவன், எரியும் விளக்கை கையில் வைத்து கொண்டே நெருப்பு தேடி அலைகிறவன் ஆகிறான். பெண்ணின் மனம் தண்ணீர் பானையின் மேல் இருப்பது போல் கடவுளின் மேல் கவனமாக இருப்பான் பக்தன். That is, God is within you. You concentrate on God. It is like a person with a lamp goes and searches for the fire to light something. Like a lady carrying the water pot. She has to concentrate on that pot, or else the water will spill. Same way, we have to concentrate on God. And she says about who is a ஞானி. அடுத்தவர்களின் அழுகை ஒலி கேட்டு நீயே அழுவதாக எப்பொழுது உணர்கிறாயோ அப்பொழுது நீ ஞானியாகி விட்டாய். Only great can feel and understand others' suffering. Detachment. Sanyasa is not an artificial property. You should have a mind. It is not an acting. And detachment is compassion towards all. It is not, detached means, it is not a hatred out of it. It should come. Compassionate towards all. I do not desire kingdom or heaven or even liberation.